Welcome to the Allied Air Power podcast, NATO's sole broadcast that patrols the full spectrum of air, space, and cyberspace. Wherever you serve, consider this your ground truth for alliance activity above the clouds, beyond the atmosphere, and across the digital domain.
Headline: Allied Air Command hosts first NATO Air Chiefs Symposium of 2026. Allied Air Command hosted the first of its biannual NATO Air Chiefs Symposium for 2026. The NATO Air Chiefs Symposium serves as a critical strategic platform for Allied and NATO partner air chiefs to discuss the evolution of air and space power, synchronize multinational capabilities, and align national contributions to NATO's collective defense. The primary objective of the symposium is to refine strategies that ensure the alliance remains prepared to defend every inch of NATO territory. The theme for this iteration, Operationalizing the Shift to Air Defense, reflects NATO's new strategic approach to defending NATO territory. This transition evolves traditional air policing into a robust air defense posture, tailored to the high-threat environment of the modern battlefield. Air chiefs and senior representatives from 27 NATO nations and 5 NATO partner nations attended the two-day event to define this new defensive posture and confirm national commitments. Lieutenant General Jason Hines, Commander Allied Air Command, stated, "We gather at a time where air and space power is more critical than ever." His remarks underscored the necessity of adapting to the dynamic and contested security environment. Key topics included NATO Command and Control, C2, Framework, Integrated Air and Missile Defense, IAMD, the reinforcement of the Eastern Flank through Enhanced Vigilance Activity Eastern Sentry, and Agile Combat Employment, ACE, concepts for ensuring resilience and sustainment. The NATO Air Chiefs Symposium 26-1 also symbolizes an event of unity and collaboration. Lieutenant General Hines pointed out, highlighting the overall goal of the conference, "Your presence here demonstrates our shared commitment to air power's contribution to the defense of the alliance. It is our chance to exchange insight, tackle emerging threats and advance air power's contribution to the multi-domain operations that make our nation safe." The symposium facilitated the exchange of lessons learned and provided a venue for Allied Air Command to discuss exercise Ramstein Flag 26, NATO's largest multi-JOA live exercise. This gathering offered a unique opportunity for nations to share relevant intelligence in a secure, multinational forum. Further emphasizing the requirement for technological adaptation, the symposium also included static displays of Counter-Unmanned Air System, CUAS, complementing the symposium's theme and showing the alliance's rapid adaptation to modern air defense requirements. NATO Air Chiefs Symposium 26-1 sends a clear signal to any potential adversary. NATO is constantly adapting to an increasingly complex and contested environment. Through initiatives like Enhanced Vigilance Activity Eastern Sentry, the alliance demonstrates its resolve to maintain a persistent and credible defensive presence. By fostering interoperability across 32 NATO nations and our partners, Allied Air Command continues to ensure that Allied air and space power remain the bedrock of a resilient and unified air defense posture, fully prepared to deter aggression by our adversaries. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office. Published April 10, 2026.
Headline: CAOC Bodø leads first flexible deterrent options to enhance multi-domain integration and allied readiness under Eastern Sentry activities. In a significant milestone for NATO's Northern Command structure, last week, together with Combined Air Operations Center, CAOC UDUM, CAOC Bodø took the lead for the first time in planning and executing flexible deterrent options, FDO, across the alliance's northern regions and Baltic regions. These activities were conducted under the overarching Eastern Sentry framework, NATO's persistent mission to ensure robust surveillance, deterrence, and the protection of every inch of Allied territory along the eastern flank. By executing these flexible deterrent options, CAOC Bodø and CAOC UDUM demonstrated the alliance's ability to rapidly scale its defensive posture in response to an evolving security environment. Enhancing the presence in the Baltic region within Joint Operations Area Central and Northwest, the CAOCs directed 3 consecutive flexible deterrent options. These missions served as a visible demonstration of Eastern Sentry's core objective, maintaining a credible and constant defensive presence. CAOC Bodø led a large-scale flexible deterrent option in Finnish airspace, Joint Operations Area Northwest. This operation emphasized anti-access, area denial degradation, A2AD degradation, and the attainment of air superiority, critical components of the Eastern Sentry defensive strategy. Colonel H. Con GM Borge, Director Combat Plans Division, CAOC Bodø, said, "This is a milestone for CAOC Bodø. It gives us valuable experience in planning and executing multi-domain operations in a multinational framework. French Rafales, integrated with Swedish Gripens and Finnish tactical assets, faced a robust opposition consisting of 4 Finnish Hornets. The mission utilized advanced bird-on-target, weapon-on-target procedures to achieve specific effects. By integrating Finnish Joint Terminal Attack Controllers, JTACS, Italian KC-767 tankers, and the 5th Control and Reporting Center, CRC, the Flexible Deterrent Options successfully exercised air-to-air refueling, close air support, CAS, and air interdict, as well as effectively exercised the multi-domain capabilities that underpin Eastern Sentry. Captain RMC said during the mission, valuing the multi-domain integration in the High North, it's important for French crews to train along allies and show our common commitment for peace to preserve free and safe airspace. In the same period, over Estonia, French Rafales integrated with Portuguese F-16s and Estonian Surface-Based Air Defense Assets, SBAMD. The mission successfully countered a simulated unmanned threat provided by Estonian forces. Tactical synchronization was led by CAOC Bodø and facilitated by Control and Reporting Center Lighthouse, as well as supported by a French E-3F Airborne Early Warning Platform, AEW. Given the increasingly dominant role of drone technology in modern conflict, exercising the ability to detect, track, and neutralize these threats is a top priority for Allied air defense. Concurrently, a second iteration over Poland mirrored this high-end training, utilizing Romanian F-16s, a Czech helicopter, and a NATO Airborne Warning and Control System aircraft, AWACS. These missions underscore the Eastern Sentry commitment to interoperability, proving that different nations and platforms can operate as a single, unified shield. The successful execution of these flexible deterrent options reinforces the Eastern Sentry messaging. NATO is ready, vigilant, and unified. These activities provide continuous assurance to Allied publics and send a clear signal of resolve to any potential adversary. By mastering the modern battlefield and refining multi-domain integration, NATO and its multinational partners ensure that the Eastern Sentry framework remains a robust and adaptable pillar of NATO's collective defense, ensuring the integrity of Allied airspace 24/7, fighting tonight, tomorrow, and together. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office, with support from the Royal Norwegian Air Force. Published April 21, 2026.
Headline: NATO's 100th Air Command Training Course marks historic milestone at the Deployable Air Command and Control Center in Italy. The 100th Initial Functional Joint Force Air Component Training Course graduated at Poggio Renatico, marking a significant milestone in NATO's Air Command and Control history. The course is hosted by the Deployable Air Command and Control Center, which has become the gold standard for preparing multinational personnel to operate within a joint force air component. Established following lessons identified during Operation Unified Protector over Libya, the program has evolved from a basic orientation into a comprehensive curriculum focused on modern operational planning within a multi-domain construct. Major General Nairee, commander of the Deployable Air Command and Control Center, said, "The success of the 100th iteration is a testament to the enduring strength of the alliance. It proves that when we train together, we stand stronger together in the defense of our shared values." Major General Nairee's remarks highlight how the evolution of this training directly supports NATO's transition toward modern multi-domain operations and reinforced collective protection. The diversity of the 100th course reflects the current geopolitical landscape, drawing 33 participants and mentors from 15 nations across Europe and North America. Students represent the combined air operations centers in Spain, Germany, and Norway, as well as air command and various national force elements. This milestone coincides with a renewed focus on collective defense. Unlike training in previous decades that focused on out-of-area missions, current iterations prioritize the deterrence and defense of the Euro-Atlantic area. Reaching this 100th iteration represents over 3,000 NATO officers and non-commissioned officers trained for air command and control duties at this single location. This specific session is the first to be delivered within the Deployable Air Command and Control Center's newly inaugurated Lotto 4 structures, which provide dedicated operations rooms and a battle lab for experimenting with innovative tactics to meet future air domain challenges. Poggio Renatico in Italy serves as the home of the Deployable Air Command and Control Center, the only NATO entity capable of deploying its own radar and communications equipment to manage air operations directly from the field. The training ensures that when the alliance conducts complex multinational operations, staff members are synchronized in their language, procedures, and tactical mindset. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office, with support from Italy. Published April 30, 2026.
Headline: NATO allies test layered counter-drone defenses in Romania in support of Eastern Sentry. NATO allies tested layered counter-drone defenses in Romania this month to accelerate integrated air and missile defense (IAMD) integration, turning emerging technology into interoperable capability under realistic conditions. Hosted by Romania at Capu Media Training Range during Exercise Eastern Phoenix 26, the first layered counter-uncrewed aerial system initiative Crucible event brought together around 500 personnel and roughly 215 technical systems in a structured experimentation environment designed to move solutions faster from demonstration to operational relevance. The event was organized by the Romanian Ministry of National Defense with NATO Allied Command Transformation, ACT. The activity focused on how different sensors, command and control, C2, and effectors can operate as a single, layered defense. Testing across a 2.5-kilometer area included more than 250 systems such as radars, acoustic and radio frequency detectors, electronic warfare tools, and kinetic and non-kinetic effectors, with scenarios that included drone swarms flown over the Black Sea. Support from the NATO-Ukraine Joint Analysis, Training and Education Center, including Ukrainian experts, helped incorporate current uncrewed aerial system tactics and ensured participants measured performance against evolving threats rather than ideal conditions. The event also reflected NATO's wider drive to strengthen deterrence and defense through adaptable, multi-domain integration along the eastern flank, where the alliance continues to refine how it detects, tracks, and defeats emerging aerial threats. Admiral Pierre Vonda, Supreme Allied Commander Transformation, said, "Our advantage lies in our ability to adapt faster than our adversaries." NATO gives nations a unique way to de-risk that adaptation together by testing what is available in the market, at scale, with industry from across the alliance. Eastern Sentry, NATO's Enhanced Vigilance Activity, EVA, launched after recent NATO airspace violations on the eastern flank, adds context to the Romania event by linking operational activities, national contributions and innovation efforts into a more flexible defensive posture. The activity is intended to reinforce existing Allied forces where and when needed, while supporting rapid experimentation and fielding of counter-drone sensors and weapons at alliance-wide scale. A priority of this NATO Enhanced Vigilance activity is to optimize and streamline integrated air and missile defense architecture by ensuring sensors, command and control, and effectors are connected and positioned to respond when needed. U.S. Lieutenant Colonel Brennan Gallagher, an Allied Air Command senior planner and one of Eastern Sentry's operational leads, said during an interview in November 2025, "Integrated air and missile defense is the backbone of Eastern Sentry. There's going to be no silver bullet. The air domain cannot stand alone and solve it." The Romania event demonstrated how NATO can use Allied Command transformation-led experimentation to adapt faster to evolving aerial threats, particularly low-cost drones and one-way attack systems. By testing sensors, command and control, and effectors at scale, the activity supports Eastern Sentry's aim to connect existing and emerging capabilities into a flexible defensive posture along the eastern flank, strengthening NATO's ability to detect, track and respond to threats where and when needed. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office, with support from Allied Command Transformation. Published May 4, 2026.
Headline: NATO Allied Air Command to conduct exercise Ramstein Flag 2026 in June. Allied Air Command, AirCom, will conduct Ramstein Flag 2026 from June 8 to June 19, 2026. Now in its third iteration, this large-scale, multi-domain exercise is designed to enhance the alliance's deterrence and collective defense. Since its inception in 2024, this year marks the first time AirCom will lead the entire exercise independently. Operations will take place simultaneously across Northern and Southern Europe within NATO's joint operations areas, combining live-fly missions with synthetic training. Lieutenant General Jason Hines, commander of Allied Air Command, stated, "Ramstein Flag 2026 will operate from the northernmost parts of Norway to the southern reaches of Spain." The exercise reflects our enduring commitment to deliver the air and space power the alliance needs every day. By focusing on current and future threats, improved tactics, and robust integration, we continue to strengthen our collective deterrence. Building on previous successes, Ramstein Flag 26 maintains the specialized training approach established by the Flag series in 1975. These exercises provide realistic combat scenarios in complex environments. Allied air forces participate as either red adversary forces or as blue friendly forces, with aerial systems simulating advanced air defense challenges. Ramstein Flag 26 strategic priorities include counter-anti-access, area denial, CA2AD, integrated air and missile defense, IMD, and agile combat employment, ACE. This exercise also emphasizes seamless data and information sharing among allies. These objectives ensure NATO air forces remain prepared to respond rapidly to Article 5 scenarios, reinforcing the alliance's commitment to collective defense. The expanded scale of Ramstein Flag 26 demonstrates NATO's commitment to countering modern and emerging threats through distributed operations. Hosted primarily by Denmark, Finland, Norway, Sweden, and Spain, the exercise involves 19 nations and over 15 operational locations. More than 150 Allied aircraft, including fighters, enablers, and NATO assets such as the AWACS and RQ-4D, will conduct about 150 sorties per day. Multi-domain integration and the use of surface and sea-based air missile defense assets within a joint engagement zone will further refine NATO's tactical procedures. Coordinated defensive counter-air missions during Ramstein Flag 26 will enhance NATO air forces' decision-making in dynamic environments. With the activation of Enhanced Vigilance Activity, EVA, Eastern Sentry in September 2025 and EVA Arctic Sentry in February 2026, Ramstein Flag 26 provides an opportunity to consolidate lessons learned and refine tactics, techniques, and procedures to address evolving threats. By delivering advanced training and encouraging innovation, the exercise demonstrates NATO's ongoing commitment to shared security and stability. Together with enhanced vigilance activities, Ramstein Flag 26 highlights items transition from traditional air policing to multi-domain air defense, strengthening NATO's distributed posture against a range of airborne threats. At the 2026 NATO Air Chiefs Symposium, Lieutenant General Hines emphasized the growing importance of air and space power. Ramstein Flag 26 demonstrates NATO unity as allies train together to synchronize command and control, C2, in realistic scenarios. This multinational collaboration highlights the alliance's multi-domain capabilities, working with maritime units and special forces to ensure stability across the Euro-Atlantic area. Story by Allied Air Command Public Affairs Office. Published April 22, 2026.
That wraps up this flight of the Allied Air Power podcast, where news-driven updates meet the authentic voices behind the mission to defend every inch of NATO territory. Until our next sortie, stand ready in the air, secure in cyberspace, and steadfast on our path to the stars.